Hi guys. I thought I was live 15 minutes ago. Turns out I wasn't live. So I think I'm live now. A little bit of tech problems today, but here we are. I'm with you and I'm so glad that you're here. So welcome. If you are here in the moment, let me know in the comments. Let me know you're here, wave or something. And if you are watching this on replay, I am so delighted that you were able to watch this. So, like I just said, I have just done all of this because I thought the Facebook Live had started, but I don't think it did. So we're going to do it again. If you are here on replay, write replay down at the bottom just so I can connect with you later. I just want to thank you for coming. Okay, today we're talking about two deeply personal things, grief and faith. What I named this workshop is Why is Grief Destroying Your Faith? And so if you are here and you've ever felt like your faith was shaken, if you've ever wondered, where is God in this? Or if you've wondered, why did this even have to happen? You are not alone. You are in a large company of people asking the same questions. I've even asked these questions. And as some of you know, I'm an ordained Presbyterian pastor here in the United States, and I've asked these questions. And you'll hear a little bit more in a little bit about what I've done, exactly what I've done to wrestle through this. Okay, so many of us were taught that faith is certainty, but the truth is that our God is bigger than the questions we have. And so what's true is that grief changes everything. It changes us, it changes the world around us. And so it's okay if the faith that you had the day before is needing to be bigger than the faith that now is needing to be bigger now. So what if instead of fearing these questions, fearing these doubts, allowing our questions to shake us to the core, what if we embrace them? What if we allow grief to not destroy faith, but deepen it, to expand it, to show us who God is in this world and how and who we are in this world? So we're going to talk about two things today. So sort of the reality of faith and grief, like why grief feels like it's destroying our faith. And then secondly is expanding faith and not losing it. And then here's that yawn. And then I'll close us. Okay, so why does grief feel like it's destroying faith? And what the God that we understood once may not fit the reality of our loss. We might feel abandoned or punished or unheard in our pain. And we might be wondering, God, where are you even? And it's okay if you don't know how to pray. It's okay if it feels weird to walk into worship. And it's okay if you're not sure how to trust the way that you did before. That's okay. I know it feels uncomfortable, but it can be part of the grief process. And so, in some ways, our faith is not about having all the answers. It's about the willingness to wrestle with the questions. That faith is not about certainty, it's more about openness. Openness to doubt. Openness to wonder, who is this God? The openness to not know and to still lean in. God, or source, or the divine, or whatever language you use for the Creator, is big enough to hold all of our emotions. Even all of them at once, all at the same time. All of the anger, the sadness, the confusion, the frustration, even all of our love. Yeah, I like to talk about so my dad died 10 years ago, and I still ask the question, Why did this have to happen? Why him? Why that moment? I don't like it. It doesn't make sense. It seems very unfair. And I'm never going to get the answers to those questions, maybe at least in this lifetime. And so what I have to do is just sort of hold those questions out to God and just sort of know that God can handle and hold those questions, even though I don't know those answers. So here are some examples in the biblical tradition, the Judeo-Christian biblical tradition, of sort of examples of faith in crisis. I always have to start with Job. Job cried out in suffering. There's a whole book on him crying out and his friends responding to him. And yet God still showed up even in all of his suffering. I think about Jesus and Jesus questioning on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me? That sense of even Jesus questioning and weeping, even though he knows that it's his cup. And I can never forget Psalms. The book of Psalms is filled with psalms of lament and just proof that God has space to hold us and has made space for doubt. I sometimes say that Psalms are the best place to start when you don't know where to start in praying. Is just start reading through the book of Psalms, because there's happy Psalms, there's sad Psalms, there's lamenting Psalms, there's teaching Psalms. You're gonna get the whole bag, and their poeticness can speak to us and can hold us in ways that feel more comfortable in this moment of grief. So, as I said, I happen to be a Christian pastor. I'm more familiar with the Judeo-Christian narrative. But if you are of a different faith or of no faith, let me know sort of these examples from your own sacred text or from your own lived experience of sort of holding on to faith, believing in something bigger, even when life gets really tough. Let me know in the examples. Okay, part 2, expanding faith and not losing it. As I asked before, what if instead of losing faith, what if we're being invited into sort of a deeper version of it? Maybe a faith that doesn't need all the answers, a faith that can make space for mystery, for healing, for growth. Even a faith that can embrace uncertainty without fear. Yeah. That feels big. What if? And so I want to give you three ways to navigate grief while broadening your faith, if you're in a moment to do that. So 1, as we've been talking, just allow the doubts. God is not afraid of your questions. Source is not afraid of your questions. So why should you be? And so I think there are 2 ways that you can sort of allow these doubts, allow these questions. And here's one that I did. I don't know that I recommend it, but it's at least an honest way to talk to God. Is there have been times when the world has been so unfair and so not okay that I have simply stood a little bit like a 2-year-old in a tantrum, stood and kind of stomped my foot and laid out all the reasons why a given experience is not okay in my view, is unfair in my view, and why I think it shouldn't have happened. Things still happened. But I think in the moment, I was at least talking to God. And sort of the belief that, okay, God, I don't have all the answers, but I know you do. And that sort of like mustard seed of faith in that moment. It wasn't pretty. It included lots of tears and stomping and crying and unfairness and all of that. But it was authentic to me in that moment. I also think if you're not a verbal expresser like I am, I think pulling out a piece of paper and just writing a letter to God and just explaining all the reasons why you're hurting, why you're questioning, why you're doubting. You don't have to do anything with it. You can throw it away. You can burn it. You can put it in the recycling. You can put it on your mattress to find in years. It doesn't matter what you do with it. The act of writing it out, the act of expressing it, is the most important part. Just sort of getting it out of your body and to God in whatever way that makes sense. Okay, so the first one was sort of allowing the doubts and really practically, either praying out loud or writing down just a simple letter to God about what it feels like to be where you are right now. 2 is expand how you experience faith. Maybe it's really hard to go to church right now, to show up on Sunday morning or Saturday evening or whatever that means for you. And that's okay. You are not alone. I promise. I promise. So maybe instead of going to church, maybe you take a walk out in nature and you have a walk and a talk with God. Maybe it's simply in the tears or in the storytelling. As a part of the funerals that I officiate, I always set it up that the stories that we tell and the tears that we shed are in and of themselves a prayer of gratitude for their life, a prayer of yearning for what was, and that is enough. It doesn't have to be any more than that. That is enough. But also, I want to say, if church is really hard for you right now, that's okay. I always think, I'm thinking back to all the widows in all the churches that I've been a part of, is there's always a group of widows. And they don't hold a sign. You might not know they're there, but I know them. And I know where they sit and I know what service they would come to. And my heart always feels full knowing that they sit together because it's uncomfortable to sit alone. And so they might as well sit together. But also my heart is broken at the same time of why they have to sit together. So if church is hard in the moment or synagogue, that is okay. Reach out to your pastor, reach out to others and have someone walk with you or sit with you. Or maybe you only go to one part of the service. Maybe you only go to the beginning part and you leave for another part. That's okay too. Know that you can work up to it. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3 is giving yourself permission to change. My goodness. The faith that you had as a 2-year-old or as a 12-year-old or a 22-year-old is not the same faith you have right now. Our faith is constantly changing as we learn more, as we experience more in life. And so in some ways, faith is not something to hold on to super tightly. It's something that we allow to grow, that we allow to change us. And so giving yourself permission to change and to have a new understanding can really go a long way in just giving you the space to figure out where God is moving in your life right now, in the midst of all of the grief. So, in closing, what if grief is not meant to destroy your faith, but is instead rebuilding it or building it in a way you didn't expect? What if this season is not about losing God, but about discovering a deeper, more honest connection? You don't have to do this alone. There are people all around you who are walking the grief journey. But if this conversation resonated with you today, I invite you to join my community. I am starting a 6-week course coming up here at the end of the month called Transcending Grief. Rebuilding your core identity. If you are interested in that, write identity down below and I'll reach out with those details. I also do one-on-one coaching. I've got room for a few more clients. I have a client right now who, I have a lot of clients, who I just love. It is such an honor to walk this with you all. So don't hesitate to reach out, DM me, put something in the comments. But if this resonated with you, I'd love to know why, and I'd love to know your own experiences as well. So with that, it's 11:45. We've done this for right about 15 minutes. And again, my name is Sally Wright, and just sending you all lots of love and hugs this day as you navigate grief in whatever true and messy way life is showing up for you today. So with that, I'll see you next week. Okay.